Greetings, teenage human. Josh Ship here. How you doing? I'm Ship, Josh. Pardon my language. And you asked for it. Internet. All right, here's the first question. My dad doesn't trust me, and he's super strict. How do I get him off my back and get more freedom? All right, look, I don't know your exact situation, but I do know parents, and I do know teens. So I'm gonna tell you a surefire way to get your parents off your back and on your side. Ready for it? Ready? Brace yourself, here we go. Get your parents off your back, you have to realize what causes them to freak out the most and ease their worries, right? Parents freak out when their kid isn't doing something that by that particular age, they should be able to do, right? As an example, let's say two parents have a kid. The kid is 1 year old and still hasn't spoken a word, isn't talking. Would that freak them out? No, because the kid's 1 year old. You know, you don't necessarily talk as a 1 year old. You just babble and drool and poop in public, like your grandfather. Moo moo, gaga, mama, dada, Chuck Norris. Now let's say those same parents have a 3 year old and the kid still hasn't said a word. Now it's time to be alarmed, right? 3 year olds should be able to talk, you know, and the parents are gonna start to freak out because the kid is not doing something that at their age, they should be able to absolutely do. Now let's say the kid's 5 and still hasn't spoken a word, nothing, right? The parents are gonna panic. They're gonna freak out. They would be going to see specialists, psychologists, doctors, speech therapists, because 5 year olds should be able to talk. Look, parents freak out when their kid isn't doing something that they should be able to, by that age, do. So what does this mean to you, right? What does it mean to be mature? It means that you are someone who is in control of your life and can handle whatever life throws at you successfully and with wisdom. So let's say let's say you're 15. Should you be able to take out the trash without being reminded 57 times? Should you? Yeah, you probably should. That's not really that big of a deal. Let's say a 13-year-old, right? Should you be able to keep your bedroom from looking like it hasn't been hit by a tornado, right? Gary England, hey, Doppler 9. You should be able to pick up your dirty clothes and make sure nothing is molding under your bed so it doesn't reach out in the middle of the night like, release the Kraken. So when you don't, here's what happens. Your parents freak out because you're not doing something that at your particular age, you are able to do. Your parents are freaked out because at this point, you have shown to them that you haven't cleaned your room, you can't pass this grade of algebra, and you can't take out the trash without throwing a tantrum. Their fear is that you'll be living in the house until you're 40, in their basement, and you won't get a job. You're like a 5-year-old that can't talk. And that freaks your parents out. So, what is the solution? Do stuff you should be able to do. That's it. And do it well. And here's the key. Do it without complaining, right? Trust is earned over time. It takes time. So when they ask you to do something, here's my advice. Just do it. Be responsible. You don't have to throw a fit. You don't have to make a big deal out of it. You don't have to have a parade. They ask you to do something pretty simple, do it. It shows them that you're mature. It shows them that you are worthy of their trust. Because trust is earned. And let me give you a little ninja secret here. You want to freak out your parents in a good way and accelerate the trust process? Here's what you do. Walk up to them and say, hey, mom or dad, what can I do specifically to earn your trust and get more freedom? If you start a conversation like that with your parents, it's going to impress them. You're going to gain massive points, right? There is no shortcut to earning trust. So by you taking initiative, going up to them and saying, hey, what can I do? Even just in that question, you are showing them that you are responsible. Even in that question, you are showing them that you are mature and someone who deserves to be trusted. Your parents might just start treating you with more respect, with more responsibility, and give you a little bit more space. And boom goes the dynamite. Two. Cut. Let me ask you this. Why should I respect my parents when they are split and always fighting with each other? Now, this is a tough one because I know what it's like to grow up in a house with adults who aren't necessarily worthy of your respect. But consider this. Let's say you walk into the doctor's office. There you are, and I'm in the waiting room too. And you see me and I sit down and leaf through the newest issue of some celebrity gossip magazine. You know, how would you treat me? Probably nothing special, right? You know, what if I said, hello, how are you? You know, how would you respond? Maybe you'd say hi, maybe you'd sneer and ignore me and whisper weirdo under your breath. Now, imagine the same scenario. There we are in the waiting room. Only this time I'm holding a giant assault rifle with a grenade launcher. Now, how are you going to talk to me now, huh? Are you going to call me weirdo? Say hello to my little friend. Here's the thing that I don't think most of us get, and I wish that we did. You should treat your parents as though they have a giant assault rifle. Now, I don't mean they're gonna shoot you and kill you, but I do mean that they have power over you. And as such, you should absolutely show them honor and respect them. But you see, it goes deeper than that. You see, God gave you your parents. There are no mistakes. God doesn't make mistakes. God wasn't like, oh man, I totally screwed this up, you know. Jimmy was supposed to go to that family over there. God doesn't make mistakes. And God also says that you have to honor your mom and dad, right there in the 10 Commandments. But here's the thing. I know that some of you live in homes where your parents are, frankly, anything but honorable. They don't deserve your respect. Even if the behavior isn't respectful, you should never be disrespectful. So here's what honoring someone does not mean. It doesn't mean that you have to agree with everything they do, right? Sometimes your mom and dad are wrong. Sometimes they're very, very wrong. You know, that doesn't change anything. You're still not allowed to be disrespectful. I'm not asking you to be, become like them. In fact, sometimes you learn what not to do from your parents. Now, it also doesn't mean that you have to be silent. I'm not asking you to not say something. I'm not asking you to not speak up if something is wrong. Showing honor doesn't mean shutting up. It just means that when you do speak up, that you do it in a way that is respectful and honorable. When your parents do something you think is unfair, how do most teenagers react, right? They throw a fit. Is this going to help things? No. So calmly, in private, make your case. It might not work, and if it doesn't work, then still, don't throw a fit. It's unfair, it's wrong, but remember, you are never allowed to be disrespectful to your parents. Now, I do want to make one really important side note. If your parents are hitting you, if they have hurt you physically, seriously, you need to tell someone and get help. It is not your fault, and no parent should ever physically hurt their child. They are broken. They need help. It is not betraying your mom or your dad. It's helping them. Tell your pastor, tell a teacher, someone you trust. Those are individuals who know how and where to get you help. Third, here's what this means. It means you're probably going to have to forgive your parents a lot. When someone does something unfair, our knee-jerk reaction is like, get all angry, and look, that is normal. Some of you have been dealt aces in life when it comes to parents. Your parents love you, and you know it. Others of you, like me, well, things are a little bit tougher. For me, I was left at the hospital by my parents. I grew up in over a dozen different homes. I was kicked out of many of those homes. Some of those homes were great. Some of those homes were very, very abusive and awful and neglectful. And it was literally a horrible situation. And the only thing that these situations taught me was what not to do and how not to live. And you know what? I'm grateful for that. They hurt me, they hurt my past, but I refused to let them have control over my present or my future. The way I got away from their influence on my life, truly, and I mean this, was to forgive them. Forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting, it means choosing not to remember. Forgiveness isn't about them, it's about you. And if you do not forgive and move on, you'll become bitter and angry and jaded and become that old guy who yells at kids from their porch. You can't turn down the dang rap musics! Even though you have the right to be mad, you never have the right to be disrespectful. Be the adult. Step up. Be respectful. After all, isn't that how you would want them to treat you? Behold, the golden rule. Google it. 3. Hey Josh, I recently made a big mistake and lost all trust with my parents. How do I regain their trust? All right, this is a great question. Look, you're going to make mistakes. You're going to screw up. Some of you are like, hey man, shouldn't you be more positive? All right, I'll be more positive. I'm positive you're gonna make mistakes. There you go, how'd that feel? Like a big group hug. The question isn't, will I ever screw up? The question is, when you screw up, how you gonna handle it? So I'm gonna tell you how to handle this in a way that will help you, not hurt you. And you're already halfway there. You said in your question that you made a mistake. Well done. That, my friend, is step 1. Step 1 is to admit that you made a mistake. When you confess, people have compassion. That's what you want. But when you get caught, people will write you off. Hashtag tear. Step 2, be honest with the details. This one's a little difficult. When your parents find out, make sure and come clean and tell them everything. Even if you know they don't know the whole story. I know what you're thinking. Dude, you trying to get me killed? No. I mean, well, a little bit, sort of. You see, by admitting to everything you did, you'll actually gain trust with your parents because you're being honest. If you tell your parents the whole situation, even details that they're never gonna know, right? You are telling your parents this. I know what I did was wrong, and I want you to know the whole thing because I'm mature and someone who can be trusted again. Now, right now, I know what some of you are thinking. You're thinking, dude, no way. I will only admit to what my parents caught me doing or think maybe I was doing. Nothing more. Look, I don't want to get in more trouble. But think about this, right? I mean, you're not an idiot. Imagine what's gonna happen when the truth comes out. Not if, but when. I mean, look, we've all thought, oh, I got away with that thing, and then boom, the truth comes out and it blindsides you. Now you're in bigger trouble, much bigger trouble. So it's best to come clean. Rip that Band-Aid off. Jump in the cold pool all at once, and all the other analogies communicating do it now, not later. Get what I'm saying? All right. Step 3, accept the consequences without complaint. People who are mature understand that their choices have consequences, and you have to deal with those consequences. You know, you buttered your bread, now lie in it. Wait, that's not right. You buttered your bread, now make your bed. No, you buttered your bread, but don't eat in bed. You buttered your bread, unless you don't eat butter because you're lactose intolerant, then you eat the butter and you fart, and that's awkward, and that's not gonna get you a date to the prom. Listen to me. Accepting the punishment, the consequence, without complaining is a way of showing your parents that you're mature, and your parents will respect you for doing such. Step 4, note to self. Don't do that again. Note to self here, a little word of encouragement. Don't do that again, you imbecile. Right? Look, everyone makes mistakes. It's all right. Your parents do not expect you to be perfect, but they do expect you to learn from your mistakes. So learn from them. Again, like I said before, trust is earned, and that takes time. Time will help you earn back their trust. If you over-communicate with your parents, here's what it communicates to them. It tells them, I want you to trust me again. That, over-communicating, will pay off the debt sooner rather than later. I'm Josh Shipp, and just remember, you asked for it.